Welcome back for the third and final video on writing a recount. Here we will talk about ideas for what kind of events you could retell and give some final advice. Normally in class, after the teacher shows you how a recount is written, the next step is to write one together on the whiteboard as a class. Everyone puts up their hands to offer ideas. The teacher will usually take care of the handwriting too. I'm going to skip that step this time, but if you're not feeling fully confident with the recounts yet, you could ask an adult to write one together with you. Whether you are writing this by yourself or with some help, it's useful to start by using a template. If you don't have a printed one or a workbook page, you can just draw boxes on a page and write the headings like this one here. Let's talk about writing ideas. What kind of events could we retell? We might think that our lives right now are boring, but in 20 years' time, people will be fascinated to hear what an average day was like when everything was closed down and children had to learn from home. So you could do a diary entry and become part of written history. A nice personal recount could be to tell us what you did for your last birthday or for Christmas. If you'd rather play the sports journalist, you can write a recount of the last game you watched. Someone who's feeling creative might pretend to be a Garda and write a fictional crime report. If you can't think of any ideas, it's completely fine to just retell what happened in a film you like. Before you choose what you'll write about, there is one last immensely important thing to keep in mind. Writers must always consider their audience. You think about who is going to read this and make sure they will understand you. There are many things that you will know more about than your audience. It's quite likely that you know a great deal more about Minecraft than I do. I don't mind if you write a recount of your Minecraft playthrough for your schoolwork, but I will need you to write it in words that I can understand. Let me show you what I mean. As I'm recording this video, the Super Bowl will be played shortly. American football is a sport that most Irish people only know just a little bit about. If you really want to write about this game for an Irish audience, you can, but you must be careful not to use too many phrases that they probably won't understand. Instead of writing, Tom Brady was sacked in the red zone, you might have to say, Tom Brady was tackled before he could throw the ball near the goal line. Before you write, decide on what the important events were and then make sure you have them in the right order. A good idea is to do a simple doodle for each event on a spare piece of paper. Then you have something to remind you. Who, when, where, and why. On your spare piece of paper, answer these 4 questions in a few short words. Next, you will write the events in this box. Remember to write in the past tense and to skip to a new line for every event. Read back over your work and make sure you've used lots of language to do with time. If you wrote the word then a lot, swap some of them for phrases that tell us more information. When you're happy with the events box, try to put all the information about the who, when, where, and why into 2 sentences and put them into the introduction. This will be the first paragraph people read and will give them the short version of what happened. Finally, give the recount a simple title that tells us what's it about. Read through your recount again to check for small mistakes. Well done on completing your recount. If you thought writing a recount with a template and some guidance from the video was a little bit easy, try to write one by yourself. Show what you wrote to your teacher or another adult and ask, does it tick these boxes? The last step when you write a good recount is to publish it. Put it up on Seesaw, Google Classroom, a school newsletter, or even just your own fridge. Put it somewhere other people can read it. If you prefer, you could read it aloud to them. Well done on all your great work, and after that, I think it's time to take a nice break. Slán go fóill.